moment. Queerama! And if any of you don't know, this is the Campbell X.
There's only one.
Winning writer and filmmaker. Who
And this
also worked with us on Queerama.
Yes, I did. And this is the wonderful Daisy Asquith. John Grant, thank you so much. I'm still really moved by the music and the film. And I had some questions prepared, but I'm like, whatever. Let's just hang. So Daisy, you're an incredibly successful documentary filmmaker. You've made like 25. I know, but your portfolio is really powerful, and 25 films. This is your 17th Doc Fest. Give it up! 17 years, right?
Yeah.
And
total geek.
Yeah, and you lecture at Goldsmiths in the MA program in Screen.
I think they're all here.
Documentary. Are you all here? Sweet. But we're not going to be all theoretical and academic. We're just hanging.
I can't do that.
Seeing your film again, because obviously we've worked on it together with your amazing team, I'm still incredibly moved by the music, the imagery, and it just seems to me it's a film of feelings. It's a history of feelings. There's sex and fucking, which we all love, don't we, right? I'm not hearing that. I'm like, oh, people are like, ooh.
Documentary makers don't have sex.
Oh, okay. They do. And love and the law, there's the surface things, but there's also the underlying feelings that come from the music, which a lot of your music's in it, John.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to, yeah.
Well, I think that's true, and I think that's why it's got that emotional narrative rather than just a sort of historical fact-based narrative about what was legal or not. It's actually about being a person, a gay person, and what life feels like, regardless of who's in government. And John does that so brilliantly with his lyrics.
So how did this all come about? Because Queerama is amazing in that it's a fantastic collaboration of lots of artists, historians, musicians. And I want to know, because you're here, how did this come about?
Well, Daisy came up to me after a show I did at, was it a Royal Festival Hall?
Yeah. No, was it the Barbican?
Okay, well, it was...
Anyway. Somewhere.
Yeah.
Somewhere in London.
It was the Royal Festival Hall.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she just started talking to me and telling me what she wanted to do, that she wanted to work with me. And can I talk about... I can talk about...
You can say whatever.
You can say whatever you want.
Don't tell them about me crying or anything. No.
But it's always good to know when somebody approaches... Sorry, I interrupted you. It's always good when a filmmaker approaches a musician. I don't know if you knew about Daisy's work before, or was it just like random?
I had no idea who she was.
Right, so she just came up to you like dry like...
very alarmed and
bored.
No, I really took a liking to her, took a shine to her immediately, and I loved what she was saying. Of course, everybody likes to hear that somebody loves what you do.
Yeah.
That's very flattering. But then I immediately took a shine to the person that she was, standing there in front of me, and she said that she wanted to do a movie with me about my life and my journey in the world of music. So I was, horrified and intrigued by that, and it's a scary thing to think about,
Yeah, it is.
And she's still trying to convince me to watch it, and I still haven't, because I don't know why the hell I'd want to see a movie about myself. I just certainly wouldn't, but...
It's coming soon. It's called Greatest Motherfucker. It's true. It's called Greatest Motherfucker.
You bring your tissues for all sorts of
reasons.
reasons.
The film that Daisy's making, but with John Grant.
About John, yeah.
About John.
Yeah.
Not a rockumentary. It's a psychodrama.
So that's basically how we met. At least, yeah.
At least. Tragicomedy.
Yeah. So that's how we met initially, and then we developed a friendship, and then I realized, you know, that she was serious about what she was talking about, and then she followed me around for a couple of years, and we became very intimate.
It's the way with Daisy, isn't it? So speaking of intimate, and the film is incredibly intimate, but the way you work is also intimate, and you bring in people in a collaborative way, which, you know, I found working with you. But, you know, I also direct, and it's always wonderful working with another director and working with you who inspire me. But I love the way you manage to empower people, hold your own, because you're very fierce sometimes, and yet make people feel as if they are a part of it, and their voice matters. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
That's really important. I'm just delighted that you think that. I mean, you know, I try not to lose my shit too much.
Not often.
We've got some really, really amazing people.
Some of them are here tonight.
I've worked on this. Lucy Robinson, Professor Lucy Robinson, as of 2 days ago.
Yeah, congrats, Lucy.
And who's a historical consultant. Mike Nichols, brilliant filmmaker himself.
Yes.
The assistant director on this, which is ridiculous, because I should be his assistant. But he spent many, many weeks and, well, days and nights, was it, Mike? In the archive, finding all the incredible things that we then cut together. 2 brilliant editors, Kenny McCracken, who's particularly good with visuals and music and cuts music videos, and Alan Mackay, who's obviously the seasoned documentary maker, Alan Mackay. And Katrin Ramasut, who is our tireless, incredible producer,
so patient.
Still trying to clear all this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. How's it going, Katrin?
And we had Simon McCallum at the BBC Archive.
That's right, and Mary.
Mary commissioned it, Mary Burke at the BFI, and Kate Townsend. Shall I stop doing this now?
No, but it's good because,
I love, you know, they're all amazing, you know.
I've sat in the meetings, and it's been incredibly enriching, and also the way that the commissioners have worked with you has been so supportive. Less of that, more of like this. Sometimes every time I look at these people, I think, God, some of them are probably still alive. And, you know, they're here today. It would be interesting, their perspectives on the now. But there's so much footage. How did you make the decision to bring it all down? And use the themes that you did, because you divided it up into different themes, and the music is part of the narration.
Music, obviously, I'm so familiar with John's music and lyrics and the kind of emotional impact of some of those songs. And I knew that I could be naughty and occasionally change the meanings that were probably originally meant. It must have been weird for you watching that, because
it's horrible.
It's like being imposed.
You felt being horrible?
Imposed.
You know, I didn't feel the way that I thought I would, because I really don't like to sit there and listen to my own stuff.
Right.
But I felt proud, you know, and that's a good thing for me to practice once in a while.
Did you feel anything in the pit of your gut, like?
I did. I sort of felt, you know, I mean, my story that I tell in my songs is one of, you know, 1 in 8 billion, you know, and to see all these stories happening on the screen, all these different types of stories, and to feel like that I can tell my story now without worrying about, you know, repercussions like being homeless or thrown out into the street from my family, or being attacked necessarily. You know, I mean, haven't gotten all the way, but I mean, I can do this now and not be ashamed of it. And it's just, you know, and just feel like my story is just as important and not more important or less important than anybody else's. So, I mean, it was nice for me to sit there and look up on the screen. And plus, I just love seeing John hurt, you know, because he's my favorite. I think he's the greatest that ever was. And there's so many incredible scenes in the film. So I felt proud, and I did feel a little bit. I thought when I get up on stage, I hope I don't lose it a little bit. If I was singing Glacier, you know, I probably would have lost it. a little bit.
Yeah, I felt the same. I mean, I felt so emotional. You know, before it was kind of calm, then saw the film, and it just gets into the pit of your stomach, especially if you've had some of those experiences. But back to you, Daisy. Like, you know, you've spoken about bringing the footage down with the help of Kenny and Alan. Why Queerama? Why that now? You know, how important are these stories to you?
Oh, hugely important. What are you
Spill
asking?
the beans, Daisy.
Questions about my sexuality in the bar later.
Daisy
Let's
has
just
many
say
stories.
I'm extremely versatile.
I won't bear witness, but in the bar later, there might be.
Yes, I've had some of those experiences in that film. Some of you will have seen that I was briefly in that film. Did anybody notice?
Yeah.
The father of my children is in the film, kissing on some hot guy. It means a lot to me. It's my family, and I wanted to make it a thematic. I wanted the songs to sort of bring a thematic story. You know, the story would be in themes. So we really wanted to take it through childhood and have those gay experiences and not look at gay people from the outside, but have it feel like it really feels. I really hope that that's what we've done with it. And sometimes the lyrics hold the narrative, and sometimes, you know, those incredible, courageous people who allowed themselves to be filmed in the 50s and 60s, they floor me. I don't know how they did that. In the 80s, I was frightened walking down the street in Leeds with my girlfriend, and we were right to be frightened, you know.
There's some incredible bravery in the scenes that we saw, people talking, you know, on camera about their sexuality and being asked all these questions back in the day when it was illegal, and you know, I felt very touched by the bravery that you see, because they know what the consequences are. Yeah. And they were so just impressive, the way they dealt with things. And so I find a lot of inspiration in that for myself, you know.
Absolutely. And also that many of them had no shame, because we're made to be ashamed by our gender, by our sexuality, yet those people, before it was legal, could be on television and speak about their desires. Like, some of them did not want to be cured, they enjoyed, you know, their sexuality. So it's incredibly powerful to bear witness to things that we've been told about the past. It wasn't horrible for everybody. For some people it was, and for some people, you know, their desire was more powerful than their fear, I think.
Yeah.
I want to open it up to the audience, so that, because I know you're dying to ask questions, aren't you?
They want to go to the bar, don't they?
I can't see anybody, but I know, oh, thank you so much for pulling up the lights. There are 2 microphones on either side. If you're burning for any questions, please do walk up to the microphone and ask Daisy or John anything. Right. So somebody's coming up. Amazing. Thank you. What's your name and where are you from?
Hello. My name is Zachary. I live in Sheffield. My question was John, because I'm a songwriter myself. I was wondering how much of your music was actually written before the film and how much was written as a result of the film?
Yeah, it was all written before the film.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, that's all there is to it.
Okay, that's my question.
Thank you, Zachary. Thank you very much. Is anybody coming?
They're not that pop.
I asked that question as well, but it works so well with it that you think it's written for it. And, you know, it's a great question. Anybody else? Oh, brilliant. What's your name?
My name's Connor.
Hi, Connor.
Hello. Another music-related one.
Good stuff.
I was just wondering, I didn't realise how much of a predominant feature that music was going to be in the film.
Yeah.
I was just wondering how much you looked at the lyrics or just the mood of the songs, because they all seem to fit very well. I just wondered how much of it was based on the lyrics and how much was just on the sort of the sound of it.
Yeah. You know, sometimes you play and you get lucky and you find things that you weren't planning, and that can be really important, I think. Just playing with pictures and playing with the songs, which I did quite a lot of. And, you know, also just, I mean, what I actually did is I took John's songs and I got a load of Post-it notes. My students are going to laugh. and I worked out the themes of the film that I wanted to cover. And then I thought, now that song is powerful for that theme. Coming Out, for example. You know, I knew I wanted to batter the Catholic Church, because I do that in all my films. And, you know, I knew which song would work. It didn't take much, really, a couple of days to plan it in that way. And then, of course, when I got together with Kenny and Alan, we made changes. It didn't all stick exactly, but overall it was surprisingly close to my original scribble. And then we sort of, you know, sometimes we went for instrumental and sometimes we used the lyrics, and then sometimes we wanted the sync to kind of talk to John and back again. It was just really, really fun.
Cool. Worked very well. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Any other questions? Oh, wonderful. What's your name?
Hello, my name's Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
It was really brilliant. Well done. Thank you.
Thank you.
I wanted to know what the original pitch for the film was and how you kind of conceived of it in the first place. So did you conceive of it as a history, or was it originally coming from that idea of like, I want to make people feel these experiences?
I wanted it to be a history that made people feel the experiences. I mean, let me ask you something. How long do you think it took to make that?
I have literally no idea.
Guess.
I've made a feature documentary myself that was all made from archive. It took us 2 years.
2 years. Okay, well, let me tell you that we pitched it 12 weeks ago. Thanks, guys.
Give it up.
We pitched it to the BFI in their funny round. It went really well. Mary Burke was incredibly supportive. Basically, let me do what I want, that crazy woman. And we had a 10-week edit.
Yeah.
And we obviously had 2 editors, although not all the way through. And Campbell and Mike did masses of research, and Lucy kept an eye on whether, you know, we were actually screwing it up totally, or lying, or fantasizing. So yeah, 12 weeks. So this feels insane to be here, and it's incredible.
I didn't know that.
To be
Amazing.
Here.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Question there. What's your name?
I'm Adelaide.
Hi, Adelaide.
So I do really appreciate that, you know, there are more documentaries made about the history of the queer community and stuff. But I thought what I found quite strange is the fact that there was no mention of the trans community, which was like a massive. I mean, the trans people were really important in queer activism, etc. But I just found it quite strange that you didn't put them in the documentary.
You didn't see anyone non-binary in the film?
Oh, I mean, no, but you didn't really speak about it. Like, you didn't, like...
But we didn't speak about anything. I mean, sorry, I don't wish to just argue with you. But we didn't really speak about anything. I mean, it's interesting, because there were loads of... It wasn't, you know, the transgender thing's important, and there were other things that concerned me as well that weren't in the film. But, of course, we made it from the BFI archive. So, in a way, we had to let the archive talk. We couldn't impose that much upon it. I'm not sure why you don't think there's any transgender people in it, because I saw loads.
Oh, yeah. So, I saw quite a few, but it was mostly just, like, passing image, and there was, like, no, like, interview of trans people or anything. That's what I meant.
Yeah, well, there you go. There you have it. There's no interviews with trans people.
I would say Steve was trans.
At that time. Steve was definitely
I would say Steve
a man,
was trans, yeah.
really. I mean...
Not defined as such at that time, but I don't know what you think, Daisy. Sorry to butt in.
I think they called Steve a lesbian, but Steve was a man. And, you know, that's just, I don't know how Steve dealt with that. I mean, Steve's incredible, the courage. I felt really lucky that we found someone like Steve to put in this film, because the point that you're making is a good one. There just wasn't, you weren't allowed to be trans. I mean, even, you know, when I was 18, no one was trans. I mean, you know, people did drag or they were ill. That was like, now it's really cool to be pansexual and non-binary, and I applaud that. But I think that's probably not what this film is about. That's the film for next time. Maybe.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Adelaide. Any other questions?
Hi.
What's your name?
Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, guys. Firstly, just want to say thank you. I'm a gay father bringing up a 5-year-old and 8-year-old, 2 lads, in a thoroughly modern family, with their birth mother. And I just want to say thank you for leaving a legacy for me to teach my kids, not that I don't teach my kids understanding, but to be able to show them exactly how it was, where we were, where we are. And I guess the follow-on question from that is in 20 years' time, if we make another documentary, where will we be? Where do you think we'll be? And where do we hope we're going to be?
You bet all have voted right. Why don't you answer that? Just because I can't, really.
I really don't know. It seems like... Really, you can't answer that?
No.
I don't know what to say to that. I'm hoping that things will continue to progress in the right direction. But sometimes when I see, for example, what's happening in the country that I come from, it makes me think that we still have to be very vigilant, and there's still a lot of work to do. So I do believe that things will continue to progress in a positive direction, but we certainly still have a lot of work to do, because there's a lot of bullshit going on right now. I don't know how to say that in an eloquent way.
Things can get worse.
Things can get worse. I'm a little bit horrified by some of the things I see going on. I hope that, you know, one day in places like Iran, it won't be, you know, you won't be stoned to death if it's discovered that you're homosexual, or hanged or thrown off a tall building. I'm hoping, it's my hope that we'll arrive at that point, you know, and that people can just stop trying to have theocracies all over the place and just let people do what they want to do and mind their own fucking business. I hope it continues in that direction. And I think that it will, but like I say, I do believe we all have to continue to do our part, and I applaud you for, I mean, you're just doing a normal thing, you're raising children, and that's how we should be reacting to what you've told us tonight, you know. I thought to myself, why am I clapping? He's doing a very normal thing. And I think, you know, we're getting to a place where that is becoming a normal thing, and we don't have to get all excited because you're a homosexual man who's raising children. I mean, that should be something that we just don't really react to, you know. And I don't know, I'm repeating myself here, but thanks for the question.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. Thanks, Mark. What's your name?
Hello, my name's Anne, and
Hi,
I'm afraid he read my mind and he kind of asked my question for me, because as I was watching that documentary come to an end, you were telling such a kind of positive and uplifting story, and yet today we've started the day with a kind of horrifying narrative in which our government is being formed out of a coalition between, you know, the Conservatives, who are bad enough by themselves, and now, you know, a bunch of people whose beliefs are really just, I mean, like, yeah, words literally fail me. And it seems, instead of this kind of steady climb, it seems more like a kind of continual slipping back, and 2 steps forward and 1 step back. And I'm wondering whether, like, you know, your next documentary could perhaps just be something about this narrative, just complete exhaustion with having to deal with all this shit, like, again and again. You know, haven't we, you know, you've told the story, it gets better, and then it gets worse again, and then it gets better, and then it gets worse again, and it's just, sorry.
No, you're right.
True.
You're absolutely right. And, you know, and I think we always talk about this. We've got to be vigilant. You know, don't let your guard down, because these people will come up and screw you. And it's true. It is scary right now. But we have a way better opposition than we had yesterday. And we also have a lot of things to celebrate. I don't think that people now will put up with that shit. You know, I really don't. My kids wouldn't.
None of us should.
No.
But also, the words of Audre Lorde ring in my head, in which she says, progress isn't linear. And we tend to think it's going to be, but it's very often it is, you know, a slipping and sliding process. And we, as Daisy said, we must all be vigilant and also be out. You know, just be vocal,
yourself.
be yourself.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think we have time for one more question. If there's a little voice coming through somewhere telling us. So, okay, we have for 2 more questions, and then we have to go. Thank you for your wonderful enthusiasm. What's your name?
Hi, my name's Emma. So it struck me the clips from the kind of shocking investigative documentary news clips from whenever they were, the 50s, 60s, that actually in the past kind of 12 months we've had documentaries about the trans community, you know, BBC and Channel 4, with similar levels of ignorance and lack of compassion, I think. So when do we think that's going to change?
You know what? That guy, for his time, was really liberal. I mean, we have to remember that even interviewing gay people then was, like, super cool. He didn't get it. He couldn't imagine what lesbians did in bed. Couldn't imagine how anything could be possibly satisfying without his dick. But, you know, I kind of feel like at least he did that. I'm so glad that that was made. And I think that we have to keep making those things. And sometimes they're going to be made by ignorant people, and sometimes not. And take the rough with the smooth and keep talking. Just keep, you know, we want those things to be a discussion point. So, you know, if we don't like all of the representations we see of ourselves,
Make some.
that's a normal thing. The One Direction fans don't like the representation of themselves either.
Your documentary that you made about One Direction.
John probably hates his. I don't know. I think he was, you know, 64, that guy who opens the film, that film came from 1964, was still illegal. He was giving people a platform. You know, he sounds dumb now, but then it was a big deal that he did that.
Also, we have to remember, he might sound dumb now. There's some people who are echoing those thoughts right now.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think his thoughts are just 1960s thoughts. I think those thoughts and opinions are still around. And, you know, they will continue to be around, but we continue to push against them. And that's important too. Are you a filmmaker?
No.
Just a consumer? But I would say as well, there are other media now than mainstream dominant media, aren't there? You can find out about ourselves on other platforms.
Yeah, it's just the damage, though, that's done by, you know, these mainstream portrayals, I think.
Well, I always feel a bit like suspicious of this kind of mainstream bashing thing, because I'm a huge TV fan, and it was my only access to documentaries when I grew up, and I think that TV is still really important. They don't let me make what I want to make always, but you know, and this is a heavenly project in that way. But I think that we should fight for TV to represent us and keep pushing them to put the things that we want to see on screen, and not just like give up on it. It's still a thing.
There are places you can write in. Please do.
Write to Janet Street Porter. She'll sort you out. You get a fact sheet, in fact.
Thank you. One last question over there.
My name is Patricia, and I live in Sheffield.
Hi, Patricia.
Yeah, I want to say thank you for your production, for you to include the Black community inside. because it's like when you are gay or lesbian woman, and you come from a black family, you have a kind of struggle to embrace yourself who you are. So I'm really happy, and even the documentary, you include black guys inside, which is very nice. And my question is that I want to ask is about, have you ever intended or have you ever done showing your production within the black community, like in terms of like Black History Month, something like that? Have you ever shown your production there?
Well, this is the first time we've shown this.
Oh, right.
And this is a premiere world.
I mean, what I will say is that it wasn't hard to have black people in this film, because some of the best films about being gay are made by and starring black people. It just wasn't difficult to do that. I guess we would have done it on purpose if it had been difficult. But we didn't need to. Isaac Julian and Campbell X have made some of the best films about the black gay experience. Okay. But listen, we'll show it anywhere you like. As I said, I'm very accessible and very versatile.
Okay. Well, I think we've come to the end. Thank you very much, Patricia. Thank you so much for your amazing questions. Give it up for John Grant and Daisy Asquith. Thank you.